What is good, guys? It's your boy Smith back with another video. Now normally we like to talk about the reptiles and amphibians around here. We're still gonna do a list today, but we're taking it to the sky with 5 of the most beautiful birds from around this world. Your boy Smith, this is All Things Living. Let's go! Alright, you guys, coming in at number 5, we have the Bohemian waxwing. These animals are super adorable, beautiful, little birds that can fit in the palm of your hand. They have this like whites and browns with this pink hue that comes out. They're absolutely adorable. They're doing pretty good in the wild, very good in the wild actually. Scientists really can't track them too well. They get their name, the Bohemian waxwing. The Bohemian in their name pretty much means that they don't have structure. These dudes don't care about anything. Migration patterns, what's that? Feeding schedules, what's that? Where are we going this winter? Who knows? Where did we go last winter? We don't remember. That's a Bohemian waxwing. They just do whatever they want, whenever they want. Scientists have tried tracking them. The numbers are huge, so they know that they're okay. They're not in any type of danger at all. Like we said, their migration patterns are extremely erratic. They don't know, they probably know where they're going. We don't know where they're going, and it usually isn't the same from year to year. They're doing very well in the wild. Now, the Bohemian waxwing, they usually hunt in flocks, in big flocks. They hang out on perches up high, take insects out, straight out the air. They eat berries, small berries and stuff like that also, but they usually hunt in groups. They stay together in big groups, and in the summertime when there are more insects, of course they're going to eat more insects. In the winter seasons, they're eating more fruits and berries, things like that. It's easier for them to find, so that's what they're going after. These animals will lay anywhere from 3 to 7 eggs, small, pale, bluish, gray eggs. The mother will incubate the eggs. Both parents will feed the young though. Both parents take care of the babies. Most of the early work is done primarily by the female, just incubating and making sure that everything is straight. And both parents will remain with the babies all the way up until their first like migration period, which is kind of cool. And then after that, I think everybody just goes off in their own direction and lives their own lives. These animals are dope though. I don't really know if people are keeping them too much in captivity. Like I said, their wild populations are doing very well, and they're just absolutely beautiful animals. Moving along. Now coming in at number 4, we have the Dusky. Now this animal I do know people are keeping in captivity, and they are doing a bang up job. They're doing really well with these animals. These animals are very happy and healthy. From what I see in captivity, these animals are super happy and healthy. It's a little different than reptiles. You know, reptiles tolerate handling. Some of them deal with it very well. These birds actually seek out their keepers. They're very affectionate. They're absolutely beautiful. Their colors are insane. Grayish black undertone with these reds and oranges that peek out through the they're absolutely beautiful. I think they have orange beaks too, or something like the yellow beaks, something like that. These animals are absolutely beautiful. There is no dimorphism, so I think the males and the females look identical. There's almost no separation from them, so that's awesome. Because a lot of times in the bird kingdom, or is that a thing? A lot of times with the birds, the males are a lot more colorful and a lot more flashy than the females. It's not even just the birds. That happens in the reptile kingdom too. These animals, that is not the case. The males and the females look identical, and they're absolutely amazing. You can find these birds in New Guinea, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and the islands of Salawati and Yapen, all throughout that area. And coming from New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, you know, everything is subtropical there, nice moist rainforest. That's the habitat you'll find these animals in primarily, practically all the time. Now the Dusky Lory doesn't get too big at all. Between 9 and 11 inches. It's a pretty small size, like parrot looking bird. Now this animal is a small parrot species. They are super affectionate, super playful, but with a lot of birds comes, you know, they can be a little bit loud. With a little bit of training and work, you can work that right out, and you will have one of the cutest, most affectionate little bundles of joy ever. These things are amazing. I don't have any birds. I've never owned birds, but looking at these birds makes me really want to get into keeping birds. I just have to do really, really big enclosures. These bird cages that I see don't make any sense to me. Like, give these birds some space, please. Now in the wild, these animals eat primarily fruit and fruit seeds. Their beaks are designed for that. And pollen too, from a lot of flowers and stuff, which is kind of weird. They actually help in the wild pollinate a lot of different plants. They're responsible for pollinating a lot of things in the wild. They're awesome. These animals are awesome. They're very much needed in the wild, and they're doing a good job. Their numbers are good in the wild and in captive populations. People are doing really well with these birds. I didn't think it was possible. These birds are doing very well in captivity. And in the wild, they usually are together in big groups, like communities. They all hang out together and do their own thing. They forage and chill. They have big communities. Overall, this is a beautiful animal, both in captivity and in the wild. They're doing very well in both. Dusky Lori, moving right along. Coming in at number 3, we have the secretary bird. Now this is my favorite one on the list. First time I seen a secretary bird, I don't know how many years ago it was, but I was watching this animal hunt, right? These birds primarily stomp out their prey. They just kick them. They kick the crap out of it. They just kick them. They stomp them into the ground. The sound that it makes when their feet comes in contact with the earth is absolutely terrifying. It sounds like a jackhammer without, like someone's taking a baseball bat and repeatedly smashing it into the ground. That's how hard these animals kick. And that's how they hunt most of their prey. They track it down and they kick it unconscious. Boom, game over. I really love this animal. They look so prehistoric. There's nothing too crazy about their color patterns. In fact, their colors are just like white and brown and gray. They might have a little hint of red somewhere. It's just white, brown, and gray. There's nothing too crazy about this the color pattern, but I love this animal because of how prehistoric it looks. They hunt, like I said, primarily on the ground. A lot of birds perch or spot out their prey from the air, and that's how they hunt. They have the bending mechanisms in their toes to be able to grab things. But these birds, the secretary birds, do not. So they hunt primarily on the ground. The male and the female track animals down and they just kick them. It's crazy. And this animal comes in at about 4.5 foot tall. 4.5 foot tall. Trolling through the grasses, looking for anything. Nothing stands a chance. Nothing stands a chance against these kicks. But I love the way this animal moves. It's prehistoric nature, and they can fly. They do fly. They just don't hunt or spot their prey from the air. And that's another reason why I think this animal may be really old. Not only the way it looks, but the way it hunts, the way it does everything. It does everything on the ground. It hunts like a dog. It's looking through the bushes. As soon as it sees something, bang, bang. It's oh. Well, a lot of the times, like the hair feathers will come back. You know when it's game time. The hair feathers come back and they get ready to go. Like I said, male and the female usually cooperate in pushing prey towards each other, and they get to kicking like Jet Li, and it's nothing stands a chance. They're scary, terrifying. Boom, they kick you, knock you out, and they get to. It's crazy. It's crazy. How they hunt, how they move, how big they are. These things are huge. Like I said, almost 5 foot tall, 4.5 foot tall birds. They're like the Road Runner. They're literally like the Road Runner. Are absolutely mind blowing. The way they do everything, and it's just different. They're the only birds that hunt primarily on the ground. Other birds will perch or spot their prey from the air. Secretary birds don't play that. They're down there in the field getting to work, and I love that about these animals. They're up close and personal. Beautiful. And these animals are super smart. They usually like spot out like natural wildfires and sit on the edges of them, waiting for all the animals to come running away from the fires so they can kick them down. And these animals are absolutely next level with everything that they do. I really don't know any other animal that does that. Usually when they smell fire, they're gonna. When these guys smell fire, they know, let's go get them. And they sit on the edges and wait for all the wildlife coming out. Secretary birds will lay 1 to 4 small eggs. The mother will incubate the eggs. Both parents take part in getting food and feeding the young. A lot of the time it's live food. And these animals have a huge success rate when it comes to their young. Not only hatching one, but multiple generations. They lay eggs every couple of days after the first clutch. They lay eggs every couple of days, and they have a huge success rate with actually raising multiple generations of babies. Which I could see that. The way they hunt, how smart they are, how coordinated these animals are in pairs. Raising a family to them is nothing. These are some of the smartest birds on the planet. I see them being wildly successful in their wild population. Coming in at number 2, we got the red crested turaco. These animals are really small. They look like little finches almost. I don't think they're finches though. Don't quote me. I don't know too much about birds. They're small, their bodies are green, and then it's like white around their head, and then they have these cool red mohawks. They look super dope. They're really small, can fit in the palm of your hand. Beautiful little birds. This bird doesn't get too big, reaching 19 to 20 inches. So I don't think it'll fit in the palm of your hand. Maybe, maybe not, I don't think so. No, that's a pretty big bird. And these animals eat almost anything in their area, from the fruits to the seeds to the insects, larvae, figs. They eat slugs. Pretty much anything in their area that is edible and won't poison them, they're gonna eat. These animals are voracious predators. They live anywhere from 5 to 10 years. A pretty healthy lifespan, and I think that's in the wild. I don't know if anybody is actually keeping these animals in captivity. Not to say that it's not happening. I know bigger facilities like sanctuaries and zoos and stuff like that actually have a lot of birds that they keep successfully, but these are absolutely beautiful animals. Now, these animals like subtropical forests, and in the wild they're found only in Angola. That's it. And after a little research, I found out that people are keeping this animal in captivity, but it is bigger facilities and zoos. These animals like very well heavily planted like enclosures, huge trees. They roost in the trees a lot of the time, really just hanging out. They don't do a lot of flying or cover a whole lot of distance, but they'll sit in their trees a lot. They move from tree to tree in little groups, and they like to roost up high in the branches. They just really appreciate highly planted aviaries. In captivity, these animals are being fed all types of fruits, especially the ones we have access to, your berries, blueberries, strawberries, apples, bananas, grapes, things like that. And they're supplementing their diets with calcium and multivitamins. They are keeping these birds actually very healthy. Enclosures are insane. They're doing good. But these animals are absolutely adorable. Doing well in the wild, and they're doing well in captivity. Their wild population is much like the Bohemian waxwing. Scientists just don't know. They really just don't know. They don't know how good they're doing, but they know that they're doing good. They see them everywhere, but they're just very hard to track. But they're common. They're common out there. They're doing very well. And they're doing very well in captivity too. And this is one of those birds that bonds the male and females. They have a pair. They usually stay together throughout their life. And once they become a group, they stay a group and they start building their first nest, and then they just stay together forever. But overall, these animals are absolutely beautiful. They're doing well, like I said, in captivity and in the wild. If you're into birds and you do good with birds, I think this would be an awesome pick. I don't know too much about birds, so this list is kind of crazy for me, but everything is beautiful. All of them are beautiful. Moving right along. Coming in at number 1, we've got the rainbow lorikeet. This is another parrot species found in Australia. And this is another species that people are keeping in captivity and doing quite well. Now, these animals are absolutely beautiful. It looks like they done messed around and fell in a paint bucket a couple times. They have almost every color imaginable on them, and just the weirdest pattern too. Very beautiful animals. Also, there is no dimorphism with these animals either. So the males and the females look what? Identical. They look exactly the same. Super dope. So your males is gonna have his bright colors all the time. Your female is gonna have the bright colors all the time. Like I said, they're keeping them in captivity. These parrots are doing very well in captivity and in the wild. They're doing very well in the wild. Very well in captivity, which I think is awesome. Rainbow lorikeets usually come together in pairs. They come together in these groups, male and female. Now, and when they're traveling, they will flock with a lot of the other birds, but then they'll break off into their own little group. They defend their feeding territories as a pair, their mating area, their nesting area. They defend those areas from everything, every other bird, even other birds of their type. They're very protective of their areas, and both male and female fight together to push everybody out. These are beautiful animals though. They're gonna do anything they can to protect their space. Now, in southern Australia, these animals usually breed at the end of the winter, coming into the summer, but everywhere else in Australia, they breed year-round. That's just how they are. And these animals primarily eat like nectar and seeds and fruits, and that's like their primary food source. They even have like an appendage on their tongue, you know, that's designed for catching pollen and it's it's different. Yeah, that's their primary food source. That's what they're eating out in the wild all the time. They also eat things like apples and corn, even coconuts. They eat a lot of different fruits and vegetables and things out there. Most of it being fruit seeds and stuff like that though. Now this is another one of those animals that is incredibly playful, looking for their caretaker, engaging with their keeper. These animals actually look to be handled and cuddled, and they're very interactive, very smart, very social birds. I don't know what else to say about these animals. They're absolutely beautiful. They respond like puppies. What else could you want? You know what I mean? Like, that's amazing. And a lot of these parrots are being hand-fed. They're very affectionate. They're getting used to their handlers. So one of the best looking birds, one of the best behaved birds. And I've also heard that when these animals are outside of their territories, like their mating grounds and their feeding grounds, that they get along with other animals very well. They're very social. They work together with other, like, that's amazing. That's amazing. You don't see that too much. That's pretty cool. These animals definitely #1 on the list, man. Rainbow lorikeets. And that's the list, guys. But just as a bonus, real quick, I want to throw in the golden pheasant. I don't know anything about this animal, but it looks like a little warrior bird and I love it. Absolutely beautiful. Looks like it's wearing almost samurai armor plating. I'm not gonna get too much into it. We'll save him for another video, but here's our bonus for this one. The golden pheasant. That dude looks dope. Anyways, that's the list, guys. Thanks for tuning in once again. You could have been anywhere on the planet, but you decided to be here with me today, and that definitely means a lot. Your boy Smith. This is All Things Living. I'm out.